I am uber excited because I am adding some more pottery to my pottery collection. I totally love to add pieces to my pottery collection, and when I add them, I'm very strategic in what pieces I like to pick. So let me show you my newest addition to my pottery collection. Now, all of these containers here, I'm adding 5. These are Wakefield planters, and I totally love Wakefield planters. Anytime I see any of the Wakefield planters, I just go ahead and grab a couple of the pieces. They are one of the pottery collections that are harder to find if you're not getting them online. Now, while I do love to shop online, it's nothing like being able to shop in person, being able to feel the pottery, actually to see the size, what the inside of the container looks like, all the things. I just love it. So I'm going to give you all a close-up on the pottery because I am just absolutely obsessed with this collection. Now, the first one here, this is called a long time pot, and so on the front it has the Wakefield detailing, and then on the back it just has the W. You might even have a piece of Wakefield pottery in your collection and not even know because you just have the W on there, but I totally love that. And then for this one right here, it's the same time pot, it's just in a smaller size. Then I went and I added this piece right here. This is just one of the mini pots. And then I added another mini pot, and it has the Wakefield emblem here. And I know you're thinking, okay, you have 4 black and then you have 1 white here. So when I seen this white, I went ahead and I grabbed it. And let me show you why. Here inside of this cabinet here, see, here's another time pot. Here is some more of my minis here. And here is a broken one. I never throw my broken pottery away. When I was shopping, I was going back and forth because I was trying to think, was I getting the same size, which would have been fine because I would have just had a pair of the same size, but I really wanted one taller and one smaller as I have here. I was spot on. I'm super excited about that because now if I want to do a collection where I have a larger one and a smaller one, I have this set right here. And if I'm able to get my hands on a smaller size in the same time pot, I'll go ahead and buy it, as well as the larger. And so that is the way that I have been able to amass a collection of pottery that I have. And it's one of my favorite hobbies to do is to collect pottery. Anytime I head to the garden center, I run to the pottery section. I make a straight beeline, straight for the pottery section. That is the first place that I go. Oftentimes I'll go to the pottery before I even go to the plants because, you know, for me, when I go into a nursery, I have a set budget. So if I'm able to see a piece of pottery that I want, I'll go ahead and I just add that in there, and then I'll decrease the size of budget for my plants. But the other thing that I like to do is once I have a collection that I'm putting on display, I like to always make sure I have some type of saucer up underneath them. Now you can use plastic. There are other ways that you can make a tray that goes up underneath it. We're going to head to the Dollar Tree and I'm going to show you my secret hack that I like to use to make sure that I don't have plastic up underneath my containers. I've used this for years and years and years. It's going to be a little bit of work up front, but the good thing about it is the Dollar Tree, well, let's say the $1.25 tree, everything pretty much is in there. Nope. Let me walk that back because now the Dollar Tree has items in there for $5, $10, and I think somebody said $20. I'm not sure, but it's not the Dollar Tree. But what we going up in there for, honey, is going to be $1.25. Okay, so let's head to the Dollar Tree, and it sounds like I hear the crew pulling up that's doing some work on my property. So we'll go ahead, head to the Dollar Tree, and we'll meet back here. And we'll put these back in their place because this is the collection that we're going to put on display today. Walk down, and for $1.25 we are going to convert this to be something so much better than just a little pizza pan. So if you look at the size is pretty good. It'll be perfect for our containers. So let's go ahead and get this fixed up. The crew has already left for the day. Let me show you where we're at. This is where they stopped at for today. So needless to say, all of this is going to have to be reseeded with grass, but the situation to be fixed. So but that is deep down in there. So the plan is for me not to have my entire front garden just dug up, and that's what my fingers are crossed for. So they made a little bit of progress today. Those of you that don't know what's going on, we had a water main break at our home, and so we're currently in the process of getting that fixed, and it is taking forever. Like forever with a capital F. So hopefully it won't be too much longer and we can go ahead and get this situation resolved. I'm gonna go ahead and start painting our pizza pan up. So we'll just take this off. Sometimes it can be hard to get the adhesive off, but I'll show you what we're gonna use. So we're going to take a little bit of this Goo Gone and we're just going to squirt it on here, and it should wipe off really quick and easy. I have some 91% isopropyl alcohol that I like to keep on hand for my crafting projects. So we're going to take that and we're going to pour some on the top here. We're just going to just douse it on the top. We're going to just wipe this. We're going to let it dry a bit. Now that it's completely dry, we're going to go ahead and spray paint this. So it is a little bit windy outside, but we're going to use our box and we should be able to fit our pan down inside of our box here to give us some type of shield. Just like that. We're going to be using some Valspar Outdoor Color Protection Paint, anti-rust. This is just one that I had on hand, and it looks like it's in the color black or blackish, but we can definitely make it work because this is just step one of the process. We have our first layer of paint done. I'm super satisfied with our first round of paint here. All the paint is drying. We'll go ahead, head inside, and we'll start to plant up the containers. That way we're not working with planting up the containers on the back end. We will basically be right in sync with the drying process. Then as soon as it gets dry, we can go ahead and we can put our plants right on top. Here's our African violets. I came in here earlier and I was trying to decipher between which one would be cute for us to pot up, and sometimes the way I arrive to this decision is the ones that are in bloom. But as you can see, all of these African violets look absolutely amazing, and they're all in bloom for this tray right here. Now you can see I have it's so hard to determine which way I'm gonna go. Like, am I gonna go with a pink? Am I going to go with a periwinkle blue? Like, I love, love, love the periwinkle because it just almost just instantly just goes with anything. So what I think we'll do, we'll go ahead and pull the entire tray and then we'll make our decision. I mean, even as I'm pulling these out, like, they just look so good. They look absolutely amazing. Here's our selection of African violets. You can see them better now that we are in more light. And I am totally obsessed. And also with the African violets, let me get in close so you can take a peek at these, because these are the standard form African violets. But we also have more plants that we're going to be using here in this area. Let's go grab them now. And here are the other plants that we're going to use to accompany our collection that we're going to be planting up. We have myrtles, we have African violets, and it sounds like a perfect combination to me. We are going to be replacing the myrtle that we have back there. And one of the things about your myrtles, if you have your myrtles in conditions that are not ideal. So what I mean by that is your myrtles are going to want full sun. And if you don't have sun coming in all angles, meaning all four sides, including the top, then you're going to want to be circling that pot. Now, we were away for some time, so therefore my myrtle was neglected. It's not dead, but I'll also show you what I do in order to push my myrtles back out. And so that way you're not constantly replacing your myrtle topiaries here, because myrtles can be expensive. So we'll go ahead and we'll pot these up. Now, as far as our collection of plants that we're going to be using, we are going to use at least 3, maybe 4 of our containers here. We're going to go ahead and bump our myrtle into the largest pot. Reason being is I want this myrtle to take off. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to let the roots take over as they see fit. Super excited about that. Now, we're definitely going to use our smaller thyme pot here. And we'll more than likely use this container. Not sure if we're going to use this beautiful urn here, but we want to make sure that for our tray, we're able to get everything fitting on top. So we'll go ahead, get this planted up, and then we'll move on to our next step for our tray, because the tray is not going to take very long to dry. And so what I like to do with my trays is I go ahead and I'm multitasking as I'm doing a tray. And then once my tray gets completely dry, I like to go ahead and just put it right on in its place. Okay, it's nothing better than that. So we'll go ahead and start planting now. Although I have a tray, I am going to go in and use a little bit of window screen for each one of the pots. That way when I water, the soil stays inside of the pot and the water just flushes out. So very quick, I go in, I take a little bit of the window screen and I just cut a little slice of it. A little bit goes a long way. And I go ahead and I pop this in the bottom here. So even for my little small ones, I'll go ahead and I'll pop a little small piece of window screen. And see, this little bitty piece of window screen is enough for both of my planters here, and it just conforms right to the bottom of the pot. See, conforms. And then this one is flat, so it'll go ahead and just fit right on the bottom here. So it's absolutely perfect. And then I'll cut one for this one right here. Now we'll start planting. Front of this is dry enough to where we can take it and put it on its backside, because what I like to do is I like to hit the backside as well. So we'll go ahead and paint the backside up. The backside looks great. It has just enough coverage on there just to say that it's black on the backside. Go ahead and let this dry. What I want to do is we're going to pull the containers back here. We're going to place the African violets back in their place. That should be enough time for the paint to dry. One of the things about when you're just going in with a light layer, it dries quickly. We'll go ahead and start collecting everything, and I'll show you how we're going to bring back the myrtle to life, if you will. All right, now first thing I want to do is I'm just pulling any suckers from around the base here. and we are going to water. Actually, we'll just head up to the plant laboratory. We'll snag this off because it's too tall to go on this shelf right here. We're going to take a tray, set the tray down because this is going to catch our water here. We're going to set down our myrtle, and this is what our myrtle looks like. So if you see this, don't trip. Just put it in the brightest place. If you have grow lights, that's the best. And then you go ahead and we're going to water this in real deep. We'll grab this watering can. You want to keep it moist and in bright sunlight. And that is what is going to bring back your myrtle. So I'll be sure to give you all an update on the myrtle so you can see where we are. Because in no time it's going to bounce back, and I'll be sure to show you what it's looking like. Because we'll bring it back out and use it as well. We're completely dry on both sides, so we can go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, now, so we could go in with this black tray and use this, but I want the black tray to be able to complement and make it seem as though it's a pair, if you will. So we're just going to do a little bit of antique finishing to this platter, and then we'll get the look that we're going for. And I'm going to set these off to the side really, really quick. And we'll just turn that upside down. So we are done. We're dry. This is what we're looking like. I totally love it. So we'll have the plants sitting on top of the tray. Just like this. You got to kind of work with the leaves a little bit. And this leaf right here, it's damaged. So I am going to go ahead and take it off. This is what our collection looks like as far as with the African violets. I wanted to give you a close-up of the African violets because they are crammed in these small mini pots, which are perfect for them because your African violets are going to appreciate a crammed environment. Also, when you're watering your African violets, make sure you're using room temperature water. Also, one of the things that I do to make sure I have constant blooms on my African violets is I put a little bit of fertilizer on the inside of my watering can. I use room temperature water in order to water my African violets. They're not going to appreciate being near the cold. So you want to keep your African violets where basically 50 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and indirect sun is perfect for them. And you provide your African violets with that type of environment and you will see beautiful, just luscious blooms all the time, because your African violets, they can bloom year round if you give them the perfect conditions. I have this leaf here that has a tear in it. I'm going to go ahead and just pop that off. And so simple fix. And then when I water, the diluted African violet food. And so just a little bit at a time. And so that is how I keep my African violets looking really, really good. And then I also use, this is the type of watering can that I've been using. So I'm going to pour just a little bit of fertilizer. Just a smidge. That much for this much water. Put the top back on. And then I go ahead and I keep this in the same environment that my African violets are in. And so I'll just come around the base of the plant and I'll just give it a little bitty watering up underneath. And I make sure not to get the leaves wet. We'll go ahead and water this one. I also made sure not to use African violet soil because I'm using a terracotta pot. So a terracotta pot is already going to provide a dry environment, if you will. So in order to combat that and make sure it has just the perfect environment, I went ahead and I used just regular potting soil. And I'm going to take this one off. And so here is our collection, and I totally love it.